What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher-Jones. As always, I am him. Conversation today was, should Joel Embiid sit for the remainder of the season? Basically, should the Sixers put him on ice for the duration of the season? Scuttlebutt, the rumors, the streets are saying that Embiid should be back about a week or two before the playoffs start. Give him an opportunity to ramp up, and then with the breaks in the first round, give him an opportunity to catch his breath. Well, the conversation found its way to the debate desk on First Take with Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, and others involved. But the angle that was taken today, and this is not a personal shot at Stephen A. or Shannon Sharp. I respect the icon that is Stephen A. immensely, and I respect the success of Shannon Sharp. But I'm going to respectfully disagree with Shannon Sharp's stance and with anybody who believes for a moment Sixers should rest Joel Embiid. Anyone who believes for a moment that Embiid should not come back this season. Anyone that believes for a moment that the Sixers team that is 26, was it 26 and 8? Make sure I got this right here. This is an astronomical number. 26 and 8 when Embiid takes the court are somehow better off in the future resting a dude who's never played more than 70 games in his career. And he may have played 71 or so in one season, but a dude, as Stephen A. so eloquently put it, can trip on the curb going to get a cheesesteak. I'll do you one better. Who can roll over in his bed and tear his knee. A dude who can show up to practice because it's too cold, get arthritis, and hurt himself stretching. A dude who's managed to have a major injury to his face, to his back, to his knee, and to his foot, all playing basketball. See, the problem I have with this premise or this notion is this. Well, man ain't going to get hurt next season. Going to rest in the next season, come back, and be in full flow, tip top shape, and be managed to play 75 games. If you rest Joel Embiid next year, he will weigh 500 pounds by the time training camp starts. He will have a stress fracture, or plantar fasciitis, or tenderness in the knees, or a back spasm, or something that will cause him to miss games early in the season because he's got to play himself into shape. This notion that he's too big to be in shape or it takes a lot to get him to be in shape is very true. There's a lot of validity in that statement. However, he's not doing the things necessary to be in shape anyway. I mean, let's call it the truth. Let's call it what it is. This is a dude who peters on the line of doing just enough to function well on the basketball court. He's a phenomenal scorer. As the season wears on, as the playoffs get deeper, as the games get closer together, it's just a matter of time before he goes away. It's a matter of time before he gets hurt. So if you're the Sixers, you're going to squeeze every bit of juice out of this, out of this dude. You're going to spring all the blood out of the stone, if you will. You're going to get everything you can out of this cat. You cannot afford to rest him as if he's going to come back next year and be better. Like, just think about this. Just never played close to 80. He got hurt in high school. He had back problems in high school. He's had back problems in college. He's had back, foot, knee problems the more he's played. The more he plays, the more likely he is to get hurt. So what are we saving him for? He's going to come back in shape? How quickly? Quickly. I want to know 1 year Joel Embiid has came into shape, came into camp, came and started the season in great shape. He's always come into camp with an injury. He's always come into the All-Star break, nursing an injury. He falls, and it's a collective yes. Everyone's worried. I mean, he gets hit by a sniper at least once a quarter, every third game in 5 nights. So the bottom line is resting him is you're not going to accomplish anything by resting him. Saving him, you're not going to accomplish anything by saving him, but just delaying the inevitable. He's going to get hurt. All right, say this with me, ladies and gentlemen. Joel Embiid, Bradley Beal, Gordon Hayward are going to get hurt. This is what they do. Kawhi Leonard managed to be a pretty relatively healthy dude, has some injuries in San Antonio, and has managed to always struggle with those injuries since forth. But he has shown you that he can go to duration and play deep into the playoffs and win you an NBA title. Joel Embiid has showed you he can't make him to the second round. This injury is a blessing in disguise if you really, like, what? Rubs off. Let's be realistic. This injury was a blessing in disguise. It gave him like multiple weeks to get himself physically together so then he can ramp up the final 2 weeks of the season, whether he plays or not. He's got practice. He can do some, Lord willing, he'll do some pool training to build his cardiovascular, so he has a cardiovascular endurance. The stretch out of the first week of the playoffs should enable him to make it through the first and second round. Then it's just a matter about toughness. Then it's just an issue of true grit. Then it's just an issue of can he match mano a mano with Giannis? Because that's who's going to be there waiting for him in the Eastern Conference Finals. It won't be the Celtics. Should the Sixers benefit enough by meeting the Celtics, throw the records out of the window, this will be the year the Sixers can beat the Celtics. If, it doesn't even matter if it beats health. It's just got to be on the court. I trust Nick Nurse. I trust Tyrese Maxey, and I believe they can put together a game plan to outcoach Joe Mazzulla and allow the Boston Celtics to implode like they know they will do. But going back to the question, well, no, you're not. She don't know. Not. It don't need a metaphor, simile, an analogy, anything. We're not sitting and being. We're not waiting for anything for this dude. Get all you can out of this comic. Because it's just that it's a comic. It's not a star, it's a comic. It flashes and then it's gone. Before you know it, you're reminiscing and you're remembering rather than living. That's just what it's going to be. So, I don't want to say it drives me crazy because I don't want to disrespect anybody. And I especially not going to disrespect Shannon Sharp and the icon Stephen A. Smith. So I got much respect for them. But the conversation is so like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Are we going to rest a dude who's not going to be healthy anyway? What are you resting him for? So he can be in shape next year? He don't come into camp in shape. He came in 1 year in camp and messed up his foot. Came in 2 years ago when the Sixers won, messed up his foot. Spent the first 20 games getting in shape. If he comes into camp shape, he's going to get hurt. If he comes into camp out of shape, he's going to get hurt. If he plays 50 games, he's going to get hurt. Do you notice a trend here? Do you notice a pattern? Are you following me here? There's no reason to rest a dude when you're just delaying the inevitable. We're not resting Embiid. Throw his butt out there. Ride what you're going to ride. Because as I said earlier, you're not dealing with a star player. You're not dealing with a guy who's going to ascend and be a star. This is a comic. This is Derrick Rose at the center position. This is, this is Yao Ming at the center position. He's better than Yao Ming. Like I said, he's the equivalent of Derrick Rose. He's going to have a great few years, a window where he tears the league up, and then he's going to be gone. And he'll journey out through the league and will reminisce about how good he was. But this is the moment for the Sixers to not waste resting this dude or saving this dude or clipping the coupons and waiting for the sale or taking a rain check on the season. No, we ain't doing any of that. If you're a Sixers fan, if you're a Philadelphia Sixers organization, if you're anybody involved, tell this team, as they already know this, to play this dude. He will be back. Everyone is saying this in the back of their minds. This might actually be a blessing in disguise. This dude may actually benefit from such a prolonged rest during the middle of the season, where he can come back even stronger and playing at a better level and not have to, similar to Kyrie Irving, the year the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Golden State Warriors. I'm trying to calm myself down here because it's like, what are you sitting a dude who's always hurt for? Like, what are we saving him for? What, he's going to come back and be healthy all of us? Like, stop that. Stop that. It's not going to happen. The Easter Bunny doesn't exist. Santa's never alive. Like, those things aren't going to happen. Similar to Kyrie Irving when he missed, he's a guy who struggles with his health. The year the Cleveland Cavaliers won the championship, a lot of people forget this. Kyrie missed like the first 30, 40 games of the year. That's why he was able to make it to the end of the season. Think about that for a moment. The previous season, he tore his kneecap in the NBA Finals, and he missed the start of the previous season. Missed about 30 or so games. I can look it up. There's no reason to. And then its end result was a magnificent Game 7 shot, a magnificent Game 5, 6, 7. Hey, Jonathan Redick, a magnificent Game 5, 6, and 7. Accountability. I'll never forget that. But I go back to my previous point. And that allowed Kyrie to play deep into the season. So a similar situation here with Joel Embiid. This rest will allow him to have a strong playoff run, prayerfully. A strong playoff run, hopefully, and a long, fruitful playoff run, prayerfully. That'll lead the Sixers into the NBA Finals. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you appreciate the podcast, like the podcast, Share the podcast, subscribe, comment, whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And as always, we appreciate your time here. You be easy.